Hello, this is part 2 of the series. Now I'm going to tell you some specific workouts that you can do on your own to balance these metrics. So to keep it simple, let's just do some steady state intervals. Let's say you do 3 by 10 minutes. Now I would probably start with power with my athletes. I know what a moderate challenge level would be for their power, and that's what I would assign them. Then the next day, or maybe a few days later, if they need recovery from that, I would say, okay, this time I want you to block your power and I want you to go by perceived exertion. So let's say it felt like a 7 or 8 out of 10 the last time, each of these intervals. Go and do 3 by 10 minute, 7 or 8 out of 10 RPE intervals. Do not look at power. Do not look at heart rate. I just want you riding blind and going by feeling. Then I would compare that to the first time they went to power. Is it the same? What are we learning from the athlete? Maybe they pushed harder and they didn't even realize it. Maybe they didn't push as hard. Then I might give them the same assignment and I would look at the average heart rate that they're doing for these intervals and I would say, okay, now go do 3 by 10 minutes at X heart rate. Then after the fact, I would look at the heart rate, I would look at the power, I would compare it to the other 2 workouts we did based on power, based on perceived exertion, and then you're just balancing all 3. Is it the same? How is their pacing? Are they undulating the power now? Are they keeping it steady? So we're learning more and more about our athlete, how they self-pace based on heart rate versus perceived exertion versus power. So you can do this workout, the 3 by 10 minutes, you could do 2 by 20, you could do 4 by 5 minutes. Really, you can do anything. The thing is to keep it consistent and also make it an interval where you can use perceived exertion to go by or you can use heart rate to go by. So you need a little bit consistency within those intervals. And then see what you can learn from this. I've mentioned a few things. There are so many things you can learn. Just dig in, think about it. It's kind of like figuring out a fun puzzle. And everyone's really different. It's interesting what you can find. You know, sort of the biking personality starts to shine through when you do these workouts by these 3 different ways. So I like to do this a couple times throughout the year in mini blocks of like a week or 2 where we focus on all 3 metrics separately and then kind of bring them together to see what we learn. The reason is if you focus too much on one thing, like for example, power, many of us are training just to power and then we can get a little obsessed about power and we put out our power numbers, power, and we forget about heart rate, we forget about how it feels. And then we go out and do a race or a group ride and suddenly we're riding without power because really in a race or group ride, often you ride without power. And we're like, wait, but where are my power numbers? What do I do? How does it feel? And so if you connect this throughout the year a couple times with the athlete and they think about how power translates to feeling and how that translates to heart rate, then they can use all 3 metrics while they're doing their group rides or their races, and they're very well balanced, and ultimately that will improve performance.